Also, you agree and to cry. The Netziv, however, wonders about the order of the pasuk, because you see in the Gemara, and it's reflected in the Shulchan Aruch as well, and in the Psukim and Tanakh, that the chi comes first. You cry, and then you give a hesped. The immediate reaction from someone's patira is to cry and then to give a hesped. Why did he say this mode was sorrow with kosa? So he says something, I guess it's safe enough if I'm quoting the Netziv. He says sometimes the tragedy overwhelms the hesped, and then B'chi comes first. But he says, sorry, Meinu, they had a full life with Avraham Avinu. They raised Yitzchak. Yitzchak was already independent. Now, it wasn't, because of the Lashon HaNetziv, Avram's life was not going to change now for Gadol. But in such a case, and it's therefore in such a case as the Netziv, what is even more important, what is foremost, more than B'chi, because the B'chi sort of recedes, because he says it's important because you have to have a hesped, you have to tell the people what the person was. Because Sari Mena was, the end of her life. Who remembers what she did when she was 20, and what she did when she was 30, and what she did when she was 40? So it's all important and obligatory, and that comes first. In such a case, the first obligation is to be maspid, so that people should say, look at what we lost, look at what this person was. And then B'chi can come second. You're caught in a bind when you want to be maspid someone, because if you're negligent in being maspid karabui, terrible punishment is stated about someone that's not maspid properly. And it's also usher to exaggerate more than small exaggerations. My problem is, of course, Mrs. Ryan, my problem is the first problem. Because self called self, I was asked to speak, but I was really on the periphery of her life. I don't have any idea of what she was really and what she did. I saw glimpses. But as I say, I was on the periphery, like looking in, peering in. So as not to violate, not being maspid someone karogui, please listen to me that every point I make, and first of all, I will inevitably leave out some points, and also every point I do make, please multiply it by around 10, and realize that this woman, this Paris, Zichrono Livracha, Shalom, was much more than the portrait that I'll attempt to portray. She was a devoted wife and helpmate in all areas of life to her husband. She was a devoted mother, a devoted daughter, a devoted mechaneches, a devoted gomelas chasodim, a devoted machnases orchim. She loved, a devoted lover of Torah and mitzvahs, and a devoted office manager of an office. She was very, very smart, but she was more than smart. She was clever, a very clever woman, and she used that cleverness. I saw it most manifested in my experience. She was aristocratic, not just the chitzonius, but the pnimius. She came from an aristocratic family, and she was bimahusa, an aristocratic woman. But what I saw is she took in strays. Not stray dogs and not stray cats. She took in stray people. There was a bias pasuach l'ravacha for stray people. It could be for a few hours, it could be for a few days, it could be for a few weeks, and many times it was even for more than that. She was sometimes literally megadel yosel v'yisoma b'tov beisa. She was always welcoming and being machshiv, miskenim, and umlolim, making them feel like b'nei bayis. I myself experienced this for 2 weeks. I was there once at a very tough point in my life, and I felt like b'nei bayis. Now that didn't always sit so well with other people in the house, perhaps, or at least they made believe it didn't sit so well. So she would either just do it and give a little smile, like with a pleading, it's just this, but I'll do it, it's not such a big deal, even though the house was mean, turning upside down to accommodate what she was doing, having this person there, but she made light of it, she just smiled, and it's nothing. Sometimes Mrs. Ryan would actually, she's a very clever woman, she was so clever that she played dumb. As if she doesn't really understand what's happening, and yeah, okay, and she played, and once in a while, if I was in the room sometimes and I was like, Yichap, what's happening? Yichap, how she's like playing dumb, and this aristocratic woman would give this mischievous grin, as if, and sometimes even maybe a little wink, as if to say, we get what's happening here, and I'm opening my house, and that's what I'm doing. She was a devoted daughter. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands who remembers Omi, but Omi, she's not going to even keep it eight anymore once you're married, but I can't describe how she waited on Omi, hand and foot, and at her beck and call, and the kibbut aim. I wasn't around when Opa was alive, but the kibbut aim I saw for Omi under the most difficult of circumstances was something to learn from. She was a devoted mother. Omi was a difficult person. David's a difficult person. But the transmission of principles and of values, what's important in life, what's not important in life, how to be machshiv people who are maybe in other people's eyes not rowing to be shown chashivus, that is the chinuch that she gave over to David, to her children, and she was a mechaneches in the areas where, in all areas, but you see the peiros in the children. I just want to mention, there's an expression, bursting with pride. I never saw her, by David Siyam Hashas, I saw like a hamchosha, the B'tziyah, someone literally bursting with pride. You couldn't, she was just beside herself with joy, with nachas, and she felt this was the peiros of what she instilled, the principles and the values that she instilled in her children. I mentioned, for me, she was primarily, again, I'm not aware of the chinuch aspect of her. She was a lamdonis, she was a Torah B'Sorah, she made lessons and speakers and topics, and she ran the different things in Torah B'Sorah. I'm not so aware of it, but it's just from what I saw. She ran that whole chinuch angle of Torah B'Sorah, with Torah and lectures and speakers and in Yomim and what to speak about and how to be Musad with things. When I think of it, he says, and I think this aristocratic woman who was Esdaka Ushal Ruach, the way she talked to people, she was a mother to Umlo and to everybody that came into the house. She was a psychologist to everyone that came into the house. She was a friend. She had patience to hear out people's problems and worries and give answers and comfort and just welcoming them in that way, that everybody should feel comfortable. Again, I was on the periphery, I feel, and this is a tipa shabiyam, just a few nekudos of what she was. I had this last conversation with her. I went to visit her and she was sitting in the sukkah. And I just treasure that because I had an opportunity to tell her how much she meant to me in my life. And again, I was on the periphery. can imagine other people that she did so much more for, but I felt she had a major impact on my life, and I was able to tell them that and thank her for that. This Pir Sukkos. I'll just close by quoting Nefesh HaChaim in his Hakdama. The Chaim Volozhin's son wrote the Hakdama, wrote a Hakdama to the Sefer Nefesh HaChaim. And he writes in the Hakdama that his father always was Molchiach him, gave him Musa. When you wrote the Molchiach Osi Al Shera'a, he perceived in me, this is Yitzchak Volozhin, talking about his father, Chaim Volozhin, he perceived in me she'eneni mishtatef b'tzayra da'achri, that I'm not mishtatef when someone's in sorrow, I'm not mishtatef, I'm not there for them. He saw that in me. V'kol ha'yad devoro elai tomid, and he would constantly tell me, Shezek kol ha'adam, what is at the end of a life? What is a person? Lo la'atzmo nivra, not to be successful with self-aggrandizement and personal success. Rak laholil achrini, the Chaim Volozhin told his son, giving him Musa. Rak laholil achrini t'chol asher himotzei b'kocho la'asos, to help others in every which way that you possibly can. As I say, with chokhmah, with understanding, with achnosas orchim, with welcoming them in, with turning over a household, just to do for others, to do for a mother, to do for a husband, to do for children, to do for strangers, and to do for people that, you know, it's not easy to let them into an aristocratic house, you know, and it's not easy. There's china on the table, you don't know what they're going to do with that china, but she had literally, I think both doors were open, the four psachim of Avraham Avinu, and one of these figures that, you know, sometimes you say to yourself, what would Mrs. Ryan do in such a situation? And you can't like think it through intellectually what to do, but you have a demus of a person, and the demus, you sort of, the instinct kicks in, and you sort of instinctively know this is what she would do, and that should be a schus for her, it should be a malitza yosher, for family for sure, and for Klal Yisrael, and Milan Mola from Netzach, and Mocha Hashem Elohim Dumami Alpha.